Hi, Chris. It's Tuesday, February 1st. Going to start off talking about snowstorms. I think that you fared a little bit better than I did, and that you just got stuck in your house, whereas we were left without power for several days. So that was no fun. But while we suffered with our snowstorm and our lack of power, what happened? Basically, there was a tree right outside our neighborhood that came down and landed on the power lines feeding into our neighborhood. So, big issue. They got it resolved a little bit faster than they had predicted they were going to, but it still left us without power for a while and ended up destroying some stuff that we had in the fridge. So that kind of sucked. We went and stayed with some friends out here for the period of time that we were without power, so it worked out okay in that regard, but not ideal. The friend that we stayed with was actually the same friend that introduced me to Settlers of Catan. He introduced me to a new game called Carcassonne. It's a game where you basically place tiles, and then on each tile that you place, you can either you can also place a person, and your person can either be a farmer or a thief or a knight, depending on the contents of the tile. And then you get points at the end, and whoever has the most points wins. It's really kind of fun. You'd have to see it and play it to really understand it, I think. But it's neat. It's a fun game. I'm sure that I will expose you to it if you haven't already been exposed, and maybe you have. Another thing that said friend introduced me to was the Dorito burger. This is just a standard burger. You grill hamburger meat or whatever. You have a bun, you have cheese if you want on the burger. But along with the lettuce and onions and tomato and whatever else you want as toppings, you include a generous layer of Doritos. And the Doritos are awesome. They add a texture. Really, it's more about texture than taste. The taste is there, but the texture is the main thing. And the texture that the Doritos add is just awesome. I think that at some point I'm going to have to try it. And he used Cool Ranch Doritos. I think I'm going to have to try like spicy nacho with a nacho cheese sauce on the burger. I just think it would be delicious. But yeah, that was good. In reference to the whole Melee thing in May, I'm going to try to make it. I can't promise. I don't know schedule-wise whether we'll be there, or just if I'll try to fly out. I don't know how that's all going to work yet. Don't know the timeline that far out. But one way or another, I'm going to try. I'll let you know when I know for sure which way that's going. I'm putting a link in the doobly-doo as to the boot that I would choose if I were to choose a boot. As for size, I generally am like an 11.5 wide. So I think based on their sizing, that means a large. So other things going on here. We spent almost every weekend in January going through room by room in the house, cleaning and organizing everything. So that's pretty much done. We're going to spend February getting rid of some of the stuff. We're going to go to the dump hopefully this weekend, and take all the electronic items that we don't need to the electronics recycling, and then take other stuff to donation, and then take other stuff just to the dump. Get rid of it. So that'll kind of be the final note, I guess, on the cleaning, organizing component of January. And then February is going to be spent mostly doing repairs in the house. So we're going to do some painting and fixing holes. There's a thing in the basement that needs to get fixed. A little piece of wood that's kind of like rotted or something. I don't know. It's not rotted, but it's like some kind of water damage or something. It needs to be fixed. And we've got a couple of holes in our screen on the porch that need to be mended. And yeah, other thing that's going to happen in February, I don't know if you remember, but February is the month in which Jeffrey changes something about himself. So this year, I'm going to get another tattoo. It's going to be one ring, like all the way across this arm, with 3 dates, 3 numbers, for the date that I met Becky, date we got married, and the date that we first restarted dating. And then that will link to another smaller ring. I may have talked to you about this already, but it will link to a smaller ring with the date that we got Maverick. And then eventually down the road, I'm gesturing, I don't know if it showed up on camera, but eventually my whole arm will be covered with, not the whole arm, but there'll be rings for kids that'll be bigger than the Mavi ring, bigger than the pet ring, obviously. And as we get future pets in the future, those will be added as well. So we'll get rings for the family going up and down my arm. I think it'll be neat. I think I'll like it. But that's something that has to be done in February, which is going to impact. So that's going to impact the whole CrossFit thing, because you can't really work out while you have a freshly drawn tattoo. So it screws up the whole badge situation a little bit, but I think I'm still going to be on track, and I'm going to try just working around it as best I can. Yeah, that's about all I've got for you. Hopefully you don't freeze, and don't forget to be awesome.